It doesn't arrive as danger. It arrives as safety. That's how it gets inside. You're not being hurt. You're being slowly rewritten. Not with violence, not with shouting, but with small, repeated shifts. A comment, a look, a subtle tone. You're too sensitive. You're overthinking. I was just joking. At first it feels harmless, but slowly you begin to question yourself. You argue less. You doubt your feelings more. You explain yourself longer. You shrink just enough to keep the peace. This is how toxic influence works. Not by breaking you, but by reshaping you. You adapt. You soften. You silence parts of yourself. And the dangerous part? It doesn't feel like damage. It feels like maturity, like patience, like compromise, until one day you look in the mirror and don't fully recognize who you've become. This isn't about fear. It's about awareness. If you are constantly changing to survive someone else's behavior, that's not growth. That's erosion. And today you start seeing it. They slowly change the way you see yourself, and that's how control hides in plain sight. A toxic person is not always loud, not always cruel, not always obvious. Sometimes they're charming, helpful, even loving. Toxicity is not about personality. It's about patterns. It's about how you feel around them over time. They avoid responsibility. They twist conversations. They shift blame. When something goes wrong, it becomes your tone, your reaction, your sensitivity. They may apologize but repeat, promise but not change. What they protect is not the relationship. It's control. Control over the narrative. Control over what's normal. Control over what you're allowed to feel. Slowly, the balance shifts. You carry more. You explain more. You forgive more. Not because you're weak, but because you care. And while you try to fix things, you don't notice something deeper. You're fixing what you didn't break. They don't all look the same, but they all leave you questioning your reality in different ways. Not all toxic people look the same, but their impact feels similar. The manipulator, they never attack directly. They suggest, they imply, until you doubt yourself. The narcissist, everything revolves around them. Your needs feel inconvenient. Your boundaries feel threatening. The victim player, always hurt, always misunderstood. So you feel guilty for having pain too. The gaslighter, that never happened. You're imagining things. You remember it wrong. The drama addict, chaos feels normal. Calm feels boring. Conflict becomes connection. The emotional vampire, they unload. They take, but rarely hold space for you. Different faces, same result. You feel smaller, more confused, more tired. Not because you're broken, but because you're carrying what was never yours. Your body starts reacting long before your mind admits the truth. The exhaustion, the anxiety, the confusion, they are a message. You don't realize it by what they say. You realize it by how you feel. You feel tired after simple conversations. Your mind replays arguments. Your body holds tension. You doubt yourself constantly. Was I wrong? Did I overreact? You apologize more, explain more, shrink more. After talking to them, you feel drained, like something was taken. Your nervous system stays alert. You walk on eggshells. You scan tone, silence, expression. Your body knows before your mind admits it. This is not love. This is survival mode. Your exhaustion is information. Your anxiety is a signal. Your system is trying to protect you. You're still functioning, but you don't recognize the version of yourself you had to become to survive. Toxic dynamics don't just hurt feelings. They reshape identity. Your self-esteem erodes slowly, piece by piece. You hesitate. You overthink. You seek validation before trusting yourself. Your anxiety rises because your environment trained you to stay alert. Inconsistency creates attachment. Love mixed with fear creates trauma bonds. You become addicted to emotional highs and lows. Peace feels unfamiliar. Calm feels empty. You lose clarity about who you are, what you like, what you deserve. Your identity becomes survival-based, not joy-based. Adaptation, when it never ends, becomes self-erasure. Their wounds don't give them the right to wound you. Toxic behavior often hides insecurity. Many learned early that love was conditional. That control meant safety. They'd protect themselves with power, not vulnerability. Under control lives fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of abandonment. So they shrink others to feel bigger. They weaken your confidence to keep you close. Understanding this explains the pattern, but it does not excuse it. Their pain may be real, but it is not yours to carry. Self-respect feels selfish when you were trained to self-abandon. Awareness is not enough. Clarity must become action. You start setting boundaries, not to punish, but to protect your peace. No becomes complete. No explanation required. You stop over-explaining, because respect doesn't need convincing. You detach emotionally, not in anger, in self-preservation. You stop absorbing moods. Stop regulating chaos that isn't yours. Sometimes the strongest boundary is distance, not revenge, not drama. Distance. This is not cruelty. This is self-respect. You didn't change, you adapted. When manipulation fades, you hear your voice again. At first, it feels unfamiliar. You ask, what do I feel? What do I want? Not what kept the peace. Not what avoided conflict. You realize how much was survival, not personality. You weren't weak. You were adapting. Now, without pressure, you expand. Your opinions strengthen. Your boundaries stabilize. Self-respect becomes quiet, solid, unshaken. You stop asking for permission to exist. You simply are. It hurts to leave. What hurt you? Leaving isn't just a decision. It's withdrawal. Your nervous system got used to chaos. So when you step away, you miss them. Not because it was healthy, because it was familiar. Detox feels empty, silent, uncomfortable. Your brain confuses pain with connection. This is where many return. But if you stay away, clarity grows. You see the loop. Same pain, different day. Freedom doesn't happen once. It happens in small decisions. Each time you choose yourself, The grip weakens. You are not going back, you are becoming. At some point, survival becomes your past. You thank the version of you who endured. They weren't weak. They were protecting you. But survival is not meant to be permanent. You release the armor, the constant alertness. You stop shrinking. Stop negotiating your worth. Your boundaries become doors you control. You trust your instincts again? Believe your memory. Honor your emotions. Peace arrives quietly, not dramatic, not loud, just stable. You weren't broken. You were adapting. Now you get to choose who you become. You were never broken. You were surviving. Now you are choosing.